Hello and welcome once again to the Adventures Travel Club television show. You can see Betty and I are kind of relaxing today.
Having fun.
Is this your dream come true?
This is my dream come true. I've been jogging on the deck and I've been eating like crazy. And
we should tell everybody where we are. We're on the Westerdam, and that's a ship, right?
And what a ship!
This is really an entire city, an entire city, and I think there was something like 1,500 passengers, and the crew is absolutely incredible.
It's a dream come true. It really is, and I want you to see what I have on my wrists.
Oh, your little seasick things?
Well, I wanted to make sure, because you never know, especially with me, and I am not going to be seasick on this trip, and they work.
Do they really?
Work. And all it is a little button here that hits into that inner, protects the inner ear or something.
Acupressure? Is that what that's based on?
Something. I don't know, but it works. But it works, and that's what's important.
Oh, that's great. I'll tell you, this is really a fantastic voyage that we're having. And in fact, we're looking out the window right now, and we can see some other cruise ships as well, but I don't think they're quite as nice as this. They don't even look as big as this ship, do they?
Do you realize how many fit on this ship?
Bunches.
Tell me. You're a mathematician.
You know, I really don't know, but it doesn't make that much difference because there are so many spaces and so many areas. We're sitting in a little lounge here that has a piano in it. In fact, we were here last night, and this was a piano bar, and then they also had violin music, and this was one of the nice little ones where you could sit and talk and visit.
Time.
Yes,
But there is the casino.
Right, there's a disco.
And then and then there's bingo, and there's athletic things, aerobics.
There's so much stuff going on that you could not possibly do it all in one day. I mean, they publish a little list of activities every day, which is really kind of fun.
Wonderful. And you know, Marv, I was out jogging this morning. Well, not jogging, walking, really. And when I went around to the front of the boat, what do you call the front of the
ship?
boat?
The bow?
The bow, okay. And the wind came up there in the front. Oh, it was hanging on and it was so exciting. That's why my hair is like this.
Well, you know, we've been getting up, a lot of us, and walking every morning around the ship. In fact, you make 4 turns around the ship, as it were, and that's a little bit more than a mile. I was up at 6:30 this morning. I wanted to beat the crowds.
Not me. I was up at 8. Isn't that exciting to be up 8 o'clock in the morning?
Well, and you figure the time, you know, from West Coast time, we're 4 hours difference from where we are right now in the Caribbean, but.
And Marv, I've got some really exciting news to tell our viewers, and we'll just wait till the end of the program and we'll tell them about what we're going to be doing.
I have a hunch that everybody better get their pencil and paper ready because it's going to be all about wonderful cruising.
And Marv, I said it before, though, about being able to take your clothes and hang them up.
Isn't that great?
That's the end of it. And I did have to iron a dress last night, and they have everything here all set up. All you have to choo-choo-choo, you know, and you put them back on again. So when you pack, you don't even have to iron your clothes.
I know, that's really wonderful. Well, there's an awful lot to see and an awful lot to do, and so we hope that you'll be with us for this adventure as we cruise the Caribbean on the Westerdam.
But first, Betty, our adventure really starts before we ever get on the ship. Here, just outside of Fort Lauderdale at Pompano Beach, and boy, did we stay at a gorgeous hotel.
Oh, wasn't it? Oh, I was so impressed. Look at out there. We could see that out of our window,
huh? It's very nice.
Yeah.
Gorgeous place to stay, I'll tell you. We got to Florida the day before we were to embark on our wonderful cruise to the Caribbean. Look at the architecture again; is very nice. Look at the reflection there of the.
It looked like something was wrong with your camera there for a little bit. The lens or something was wrong.
The reflection off of these beautiful buildings. So we decided on our way to the ship the next morning that we would take a tour on these little trolleys that they have. And we're going to take a tour of the Fort Lauderdale area, which I had never been there before.
No, I hadn't either. This is something unusual for us. We usually don't have these little optional things that you do, but we did have the morning, and it was a marvelous opportunity to see more of Florida.
Oh, it certainly was.
Isn't it cute? Look at that.
Yeah, the little trolley, the Holland American Line City Tour trolley. And so we hopped aboard on this little trolley, and were able to see an awful lot of beautiful, beautiful area. The people there in Florida were saying think that their orange juice is the greatest, you know, and compared to to California orange juice, and
Yes.
we had some in the morning. I will say it was good.
Hey, I never tasted such good orange juice as that one little store that they brought us into. But of course, they kind of brought us in. I wonder if they didn't give us something really kind of special.
I don't know. I always said that the best orange juice I'd ever tasted was in the Holy Land. I thought, it was great. Anyway, enough about orange juice. This is really pretty as we get into Fort Lauderdale itself. I was not amazed to see the high rises here along the beaches right there on the other side, because you hear Miami Beach, of course, which is not too terribly far away from where we are here too, is just lined with these condominiums, apartment buildings, and I don't think these were too many in the way of hotels. These are sort of for permanent residents there, or maybe the snowbirds that do come down in the wintertime. But boy, there's a lot of buildings.
What do you mean the snowbirds that come down in the wintertime?
They come down to get out of the snow.
Oh,
They
okay.
go down to Florida.
It sounded like the snowbirds come down there to get a little snow.
That's what they call the people from up north, the snowbirds. This was
okay.
interesting. As we were going along the beach, there was airplane after airplane after airplane with these little advertisements that were put, and then of course we saw that there were so many people out on the beach.
Yeah, it was
And,
a little windy
uh-huh.
that day, and these were all being planted. These palm trees I don't know where they're getting all their money. I guess tourists like us, but they're doing all sorts of landscaping.
They really are, and it's really quite beautiful as they get into this what they call the strip area right here, and you can see here the I want to say architecture, but sort of like the little fence situation as you see here, and it's really quite beautiful. A lot of construction, as you say, going on there.
Oh,
but
yeah, and lots of ships as we looked out in the water.
Weren't there, though?
So
Yes.
many big ones. Oh, yeah.
Well, I imagine that this is one of the big businesses.
It made my heart beat really fast because I knew the next day we would be on one.
And here you can see, to talk about ships, look at these right in your own front yard as we keep going over this.
These are
area.
privately owned little yachts of those
Uh-huh.
people. Wow.
That's right. And a little bit later on, we get into some others where it's a little even more expensive, as you see bigger yachts. But boy, there's a lot of money sitting there on the water, isn't there?
Marv, I didn't realize that there were so many canals. Are they canals or waterways, I guess is a more appropriate
Yeah, these were
thing,
sort
huh?
of, I think so. He explained this to us. That there's sort of little islands or keys or whatever you call these things that jut out there. And now we slowed up a little bit. And Betty, the other thing I noticed too, did you see the Spanish moss that's up on some of these trees? Isn't that quite nice?
It's spooky. You kind of think of Everglades and all of that, alligators.
And we're a little ways, I believe, from the Everglades. But anyway, we're going to listen to our guide now. He's going to explain a little bit about Fort Lauderdale itself.
Off to our left here, this is the reason we're Fort Lauderdale. This is actually known as Cooley Hammock Park. Cooley Hammock Park was where the Cooley family came and settled back in 1838. They continued to grow and prosper. They had a pretty good time up until 1842. There was a partial hurricane. All of the Cooley gentlemen were out off the coast trying to help a ship that had run aground. When all the Cooley gentlemen returned to their camp, they found all the women and children murdered in their village and been burned to the ground. This was by the Seminole Indians at the time. The Cooley men, not being very happy about this, got in touch with the United States government, who sent out Major William Lauderdale. Major Lauderdale, along with 10 volunteers from the volunteer state of Tennessee, came to Fort Lauderdale, built a fort on this site, and went ahead and took care of the Indian problem. So many people got used to coming to seeing Major Lauderdale at the fort that the name was changed to Fort Lauderdale. It was adopted by our town fathers in 1911 and has been the same ever since. They've since taken away the fort, but there is a monument in the middle of the park in memory of the Cooley family.
And in this area, there was another historic house there. This woman was a friend of the Seminoles, Indians there, and her house was in this area.
I didn't go though. It cost like $3.50, and I peeked in the window. I saw all I needed to see by looking in the window. They love people like me.
Well, I'll tell you, peeking out here, you're going to see some more beautiful yachts, of course. So we're now getting into a little higher rent district too in Fort Lauderdale. a lot of people have second homes here too. Why would you like to have a second home in Fort Lauderdale and have this sitting in your front yard or your backyard?
I think that would be right down your alley. You have always talked boats, haven't you? You want a boat someday.
There's only one thing about that, though. Yeah, wanting
money.
and having is money.
Takes a little money. You are right.
That's right. But
someday maybe your ship will come in.
Well, it
That's
better,
what my
it
grandma
better come in loaded.
Grandma used to say that when we'd want something. Well, maybe someday your ship will come in.
Well, there's some beautiful little ships right here, I'll tell you. And this is really nice.
Oh, yes.
We're getting fairly close to taking a look at our ship, too. But, you know, it costs a lot of money to park some of these things in a garage, and our guide's going to tell us about that right now.
To the left here is the boathouse. This is the boathouse in Fort Lauderdale. Inside these doors, you can see some of the sizes of some of the yachts in here.
Oh, look at that.
One of the cheaper places to park your boat in Fort Lauderdale. These slips cost only $3,000 a month to park your boat here. It's not bad.
Well, if you look through there, you really can see some of these yachts, and now you can't be behind the closed
But
door.
Marv, it's funny because they're layered. I mean, they go up about 4 stories inside of there. One, remember
on some
on
of
the
those,
racks?
but not all of those. Some of the water
Yeah.
comes right in there. Yeah, you've got two types of boat storage there. Speaking about, well, now we're really going to speak ships instead of boats. We're getting to the area now where most of the cruise lines tie up, and there's the Westerdam right there. As we can see, we were taking a look at another ship just a little bit before that, but we'll, and here's one of the Princess lines,
isn't that
I believe.
incredible?
Oh, I'll tell you, it was incredible to see all of these ships there in the in this harbor, and the way that you know, they quickly board you onto the ship, which was just really interesting. I hear the people from the other inside the ship now are coming and being greeted, and of course there's a cabin steward that comes there to meet you, and
they give you the royal treatment, don't they? Coming and going.
And it doesn't take too long to find where the bar is for some people to get up on deck. And
well,
take
everything is convenient for you, though. I mean, there's anywhere you go, whatever you want is available for you.
It's really nice. And of course, as you say, it was a little bit cool, even for Florida. So a few people have some jackets on, and we were just getting ready. I think we were supposed to leave a little after 5 o'clock, 5 or 5:30, and as you can see, it's about 5 minutes after 5 in the evening time now. We're kind of losing the sun a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we also had to get ready, too. These people are very stern about your lifeboat drill. There's Monsignor Burns, who was along with us.
Who's that with him?
I don't know. Somebody who didn't have her hair all put together.
Marv, you say the nicest things, honestly.
Just teasing you. It was a little windy.
Okay.
But you see, one of the ships now out there to the left is already starting to leave the port. And I wanted to get up front so that we could take a little look out here and see what was going on. And there's one of the officers. I got a shot of him through the window.
Yeah.
And some of the people up there. I couldn't find where that place was inside. I would have gotten him there because it'd been a little protected from the wind. But I think that was kind of
maybe they knew somebody, huh?
Yeah, I think so. And there you can see one of the ships already leaving, and several others. In fact, as we had our cruise, we would see these ships off in the distance, and a lot of them would go to the same ports, of course, that we went to. So
you'd see
we weren't kind of strangers.
Yeah,
you
you'd
know.
see their lights at night, off in the distance. It was comforting.
What I was going to say is they're very stern and very strict about this lifeguard drill, and you see some of the people already have their life vests on already. And that's very good. The Coast Guard is makes sure that we have that lifeguard drill. Betty, I think if we listen to the whistle, it's almost time for us to go. Well, when that whistle blows, it really blows. You can hear it all over the place. And again, as we were stating, everybody's getting ready for the lifeguard drill. In fact, we have that just as we're really pulling out of the port, which is surprising to me, because I've been on another ship and we didn't have the lifeguard, not lifeguard. What do you call it?
Lifeguard drill. The life drill.
Yeah, I want to say lifeguard drill, but that's.
But you know what? You led me astray because you
What?
said, I was doing something with the people or getting ready for something. He says, "Oh, Betty, it's okay. You don't have to go. It's all right." Well, my gosh, you did have to go.
They took roll call,
yes,
didn't they?
Yes, they did. They did, and you would have really had me put in the brig if I hadn't gone. So.
Oh, well, anyway, the guy is casting us off right now, as you can see, and so it means we're going to be moving right away. But yeah, they were. I'm glad to see that they, that they were very, very stringent about that. I think that's most important.
It is important. But one thing that disappointed me, if it could be called a disappointment, I wanted to see, like I see in the movies, I wanted streamers coming off, and I wanted somebody waving goodbye to me and all of that.
It used to happen on the transatlantic cruises.
That's how romantic I am about cruises. So
you watch too many movies.
Yeah.
This, as you can see, the officers here, and we are moving now. If you take a look, the ship is moving, and on either side of the ship, they have these controls over here, and I imagine that that you can operate the engines from there. At least the engines that are pushing you away from the.
You can see us coming. See?
Oh yeah, no, it's moving.
Judging by the car over there.
Yeah, we started to move, and they, the ropes are off, and we're going to be moving here.
Are you with us?
We should explain too. See, there's another one on the other side of the ship. I ran over there to say, I wonder if this is just on one side, but no, it's on the other side. Because at some areas where you dock, you might be on the other side of the ship. So, anyway, we are now leaving Fort Lauderdale, and we'll be heading for the open seas here very quickly.
Marv, I'm not going to wait any longer. I just can't wait to tell everybody my good news.
All righty.
I think it's good. We are going to go back to the Caribbean, and we're going to go on February 5th. And we're going to do the Western Caribbean. Do you want to know where we're going to go?
Yes,
what we're
tell me quickly. That sounds exciting.
We go to Playa del Carmen in Mexico, and Cozumel. Thank you, in Mexico, and Ocho Rios in Jamaica, Georgetown and Grand Cayman, and then we're at sea, and then we go back to Tampa, Florida.
Hey,
how does that sound?
Sounds great.
How does that grab you?
That grabs me very well.
Isn't that wonderful?
That is. And we're going to be on the New Amsterdam, of course, which is one of Holland American's beautiful ships. And the nice thing I like about it, Betty, you don't have to tip on these ships.
Know.
Isn't that wonderful?
It really, truly is. Those other ships, really, you have to pay.
Yeah, but not on these. Oh. This is the porthole from the stateroom that I had there. I wanted to see that you could actually see the water out of there. And this is just one of the many salons in the ship. And I tried to get this early before it was all filled with people, because bingo would be going on in here or other things later.
They had horse races, and they had
so
dancing, and they had about 4 or 5 different little orchestras everywhere you went. There was little bands or playing, or someone playing the piano, or it was.
There's just entertainment going on all the time. And if you're into movies, there was one theater that was just playing motion pictures all the time. And of course, every night there was a wonderful show in the main theater that they had, and it was great. And even one night, we should explain that they have 2 crews on the ship, a Philippine crew and an Indonesian crew, and the Philippine crew put a show together one night, and it was wonderful to watch. The kids, they were amateurs, but they just did a wonderful job, and I think everyone really enjoyed that. Here's something to enjoy, of course, which I think everybody looks forward to on a cruise, is to be out in the sun and get a few rays.
Yeah.
There were 2 swimming pools on the Westerdam, and one outside, and then there's one indoors.
Take your pick, and also when you're out there, there's all sorts of little places to eat, and of course you don't pay for it. You go say, I think I'll have a hamburger, or I think I'll make a taco, or I think I'll have ice cream, and there it is.
Always.
And
Yeah.
another thing I really liked a lot for me was convenient. If you order anything, and if a drink or whether it's Coke or whatever you want, you don't pay for anything. You just sign with your cabin, and then they give you a bill at the end. And that's much more convenient than carrying money with you.
The world of computerization.
That's right.
Here are a couple of the whirlpools out, and this is on that particular deck where the roof would slide back. And so you could, in fact, Betty is enjoying a hamburger right here as we see.
Yes, I am, and I got one the next day, too. And guess who there is?
Yeah, I had one as well.
I took that picture, didn't I?
Yeah, you sure did.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, and Peggy was there, too, as she
Peggy
was having one. In fact, we've got some shots in a later show. We're going to show you. Peggy won she won one place in a contest, but we won't give that away, because all of a sudden we find ourselves in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh, well, that's the way.
Isn't this nice?
And we didn't fly in.
No, not at all. No, we sailed in this time, and the old city of Puerto Rico was the old part there by the fort was very interesting. Now, on the cruise, you can, when we get into port, then you can, there you see some of
isn't
the
that
port
lovely?
there.
Yeah.
You can go off on your own now, or you could join a group if you want to, and then go ahead and do what you want to do on the island here. I went with a group of people, and we wound up in the old town in the evening time, and then we went to some of the casinos. I didn't even know that they were there, but it was really magnificent. And took a cab ride around and got to see a little bit of old San Juan.
I didn't see any of the nightlife, but I did. I tell you what we did, which was I thought was really good. They charged something like $25. I'm not really sure on the ship to take a little trip around to see the sights. And we didn't do it, we got off the ship, and I had about 15 people, not all of mine, but and we did it for $7, and we did exactly the same thing.
Well, it pays to shop around a little bit, doesn't it?
It really does, and we saw everything.
Oh, that's great. Betty, while we have a little bit of time, maybe we should tell everybody what you do have coming up here for our next year. You know, in February, you mentioned that we're going to be on the New Amsterdam for our Western Caribbean cruise. What else have we got on tap?
Oh, my gosh, we've got so many things. By the way, I am finished with my newsletter, and it's going to be out in 3 weeks, and I will have a complete itinerary of where we're going, how much it's going to cost, etc., etc., etc.
Good.
So if you're not on my
list,
if you're not on my mailing list and you really would like to know about some of these places we're going, you could drop me a line at the very end of the program. It gives our address, and I'll put you on the mailing list, and you get the letter and the itinerary. Okay. All right, shall we go now?
Yeah, let's go.
Are we ready?
Okay,
Have I got your permission?
You bet.
All right. February 5th is the Caribbean Cruise, and then February the 16th, we have something really different planned. We're going to have an Orient adventure. We're going to spend 2 nights in Seoul, Korea, 3 nights in Bangkok, 2 nights in Chiang Mai. That's also
up in northern Thailand.
Yeah, and it's still like a little village, and they're going to.
I think outside of it's a little village, just a big city.
That's a big city.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
well,
but outside we're going to visit some of the villages
outside.
outside.
Well, the village is outside.
Right.
Okay, we're flying into there. Okay, and then we are going to end it up in my favorite city, Hong Kong.
Oh boy, that sounds great. That's our Orient adventure.
That will be the Orient adventure.
February 16th. Great.
And I think that should be a plus. Then on March 20th, we're going to do the footsteps of St. Paul. Back to Greece, and then we will end up in Istanbul.
And
so that should be a very exciting trip. Monsignor Hayes is going to go along on that because he is the historian that will really fill us in with what we have to know.
That sounds super.
Okay, then of course April 13th is the Panama Canal.
Another cruise.
Yeah, lock that one in.
And that
Get that? That was a joke.
Lock that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Lock that in. Okay, I got it.
Okay.
All right.
And in June, then we're going to do our Holy Land trip again, and we're doing it in June to accommodate the teachers and those people that have vacations in the summertime. Yeah. That will be the exact same trip. That's Rome, Holy Land, and Cairo, and it is a winner, believe you me. July, I guess we're going back to Alaska. We've had so many phone calls from our Alaska picture that the people wanting to go. And then we're going to go to Ireland in August, and in October we're going to Egypt and down the Nile River.
There's so many things that are happening here on the ship, and this was at 11:30 at night. I think it was. No, well, maybe it was about that late. I think it was. And they were giving an ice carving demonstration. Excuse me. With some of the crew there, and you can see how many people turned out for this. I thought it was really something to see how fast these fellows can carve. Like here's a winged horse that and there was a peacock on one, and I think a couple of lovebirds on another one. And these fellows just really work. I guess you have to work fast.
You'd have to work fast, but then they had them as a decoration in the dining room, and it was lovely.
Beautiful.
Very,
Absolutely
very nice.
Beautiful.
I didn't step and watch this. 11:30 was late for me.
And you didn't get up and run at 6 o'clock in the morning either. Well, you were really kind of on vacation.
One of the penalties of getting old, you know.
Well, I'll tell you what, which was a lot of fun on the ship, is that they did. You could win some prizes if you wanted to get out and do physical things. I mean, you got various points for the things that you did.
I did do that. Now, I didn't. You said I didn't get up at 6, but I was out there at 8.
Well, that's when most of the people showed up.
That's right. Give credit where credit is due.
Well, a few of us hardy souls would get up a little bit early, because I'll tell you, the deck got pretty filled with people wanting to get in their mile every morning. So I was surprised how many people wanted to do that, but it was fun. Well, we have left San Juan, of course, as you can tell, and now we're going to Tortola, and this is a British island, and these are some of the little islands that are out a ways as we get into that harbor. And I don't know. To me, this is just pure heaven to see this wonderful water and the sky. And the sky was you see, we'd had a little bit of rain, a touch of that, but there was a rainbow. And I've got several shots of this because I didn't know that you could photograph a rainbow like this, whether it would come out, but it certainly did.
Oh, yeah. And see, the weather, it was fine. You can tell by the clothes. Well, it just because...
You're down in the tropics, you know, so actually that was really kind of nice. It was a little refreshing because it was warm, and here you had the nice rain that came in and some nice sea breezes.
It was hot. It was a big rain one night. Remember, we were it was great.
Yeah, so you get a real expression of Mother Nature there. I'll tell you. It's
wonder
really
why
nice.
they've never built on any of these
Give
places.
them time.
I guess really, just a summer home would be just about all, because Tortola, golly.
Yes, the town was rather small. Yeah, it was rather small. And of course, most of these places in the Caribbean, you know, the main industry is tourism. So I mean, that's what they survive on is tourism.
I think a whole bunch of our people, not traveling with us, but on the ship itself, went for snorkeling. I saw them with their gear get off at Tortola. It must be a very good place for it.
There are evidently a lot of beaches, you know, around the island that you can go to, and as you say, people that have traveled before, who, you know, they don't want to take the tour of the island. They've already done that. So they'll head for a beach, maybe have a picnic lunch, or maybe, like you say, go snorkeling or wind sailing or windsurfing, I guess it would be, and just all sorts of things. Here comes a pilot ship out, I guess, to
that's the
get us into the...
Isn't that the little ship that takes us to the... Oh, it
isn't,
No,
that's a little small one. That's a little pilot ship.
All right,
and,
you're the
other
boss.
one will be out here in just a moment, though, so that we can get off. And then it shuttles us back and forth to the ship. Evidently, the harbor was not deep enough to, you know, for the ship to come all the way in. Yeah,
I enjoyed taking that little boat back and forth.
It was
fun for me. Yeah,
it was fun.
I did.
Nice.
I went about 3 different times. I would go,
Did
and
you
then
really?
I'd come back, and then I'd go, and then I'd come back. Sure, well, it didn't cost anything,
oh,
and
no,
it was
that's
fun. I enjoyed it.
Well, it's certainly a beautiful area. Here comes the ship that you're talking about, the little water taxi and or launch or whatever it's called. And yeah, it seems a lot of
that's what
people.
I did. I went home for lunch.
You went home for lunch.
Yeah.
You didn't want to miss any meals on the ship.
I didn't want to miss any meal. I went back for lunch, and then I got on the lunch again.
Oh boy. Well, I'll tell you, it is fun, and what a relaxing time you can have. But you can also have an active time too. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. That's the nice thing I think about cruising. But anyway, just thinking about on these cruises that we have coming up. The February 5th one and the April 13th one. I know that if people book early, they can save a lot of money, can't they?
Oh, I'll say they can. And, of course, we get group rates also because of more people going with us. They can save as much as 30% if they have their deposit down by December 31st or January 1st, right? You know, that's kind of hairy, those 2 dates.
So that's a good thing for people to keep in mind. If you'd like to go with us to the Western Caribbean on the 5th of February or through the Panama Canal on the 13th of April, if you do get your deposits in, as Betty mentioned, then we can save you lots of money.
Yeah, up to $700-800
per person.
Per person, depending, of course, on the cabin. But the rates are very good. They start at $12.12 for the Caribbean.
Here's the downtown area of Tortola. It wasn't too terribly big, like you say. It was a little place, but
don't
it was
blink.
Rather interesting. Yeah, yeah. You may pass it up, but we'll show you more here on another program of this area. And it's just about time for us to say goodbye. So we will do that and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye bye.